Hi guys, I'm Bri.
And I'm Alli. This is Offscript.
If you think about it, books are potential scripts for movies.
When this adaptation happens, typically it's disappointing because they went off script.
In this series, we will be talking about how off script they went.
Okay.
We just recorded an episode, guys.
I'm beat, but we're doing it for you.
Okay. Get us ahead.
Yeah. So I'm Alli.
I'm Bri.
And this is Offscript,
A podcast.
where we compare the book to the movie.
Which one did it better?
Today we talk about the DUFF, the designated ugly fat friend. What a sad, sad thing.
I know. It's so sad. But I will say, when I first watched this movie, I was like, oh, I'm the dog.
Oh my gosh. Shut up.
I did. I was like, no one liked me in high school. I was the nerd.
Oh gosh. Whatever. All right. Well, it's season 4, episode 20.
Oh, that's funny. It's episode 20 coming out on the 20th.
What?
That's
It's
cool.
like we planned it.
Almost.
If only we were that good.
I know.
If only we had the shine.
I have a picture to paint.
Okay.
I was going to do it in our last episode, but then we went on a Rob tangent, so stuck with that. So tonight I was at John's before I came. Oh, shit. Did you see that?
Yes. Bri almost spilled water all over the entire studio.
Yeah, my dad would have. Oh, I would not exist anymore.
There would be no podcast anymore.
Yeah. But I was at John's before I came over here to record. And as I'm leaving, I'm out on his little deck patio and I start hearing this crazy wild animal sound that literally like makes me keep stopping. And guys, I should let you know how much I love cats. Because once in Los Angeles, when I was staying at my friend's, I think I've actually said this on the podcast, where I heard the cat mewling and I like walked around the streets of Compton when I shouldn't have been.
Compton? You were walking by yourself?
Oh, I guess I have not told this story.
No,
Alli doesn't know
my
this story.
gosh.
So back in my LA days, my friend's family lives literally, they're in Linwood, but the street right behind them is Compton.
Oh my gosh.
So I was basically on the block of Compton. Okay. Right behind them was a church. So like, I'm not thinking anything of it. And I hear a kitten crying. And I'm like, oh my God, the mom's left the cat to die. Something's wrong with the cat. I need to go find this cat and save this cat. So I started circling the streets of Compton, not knowing it's the streets of Compton.
Okay.
I'm still thinking it's Linwood. And so I'm doing this by myself at night.
Yeah, you're crazy.
Like Amy's family was out at Quinceañera, so no one was home.
yeah.
So no one even knows that I'm going and doing this.
Oh my gosh.
And the freaking church is gated up to where no one can get in. In my head, I'm like, maybe I can climb the gate. But it's like one of those like tall iron fence gate things. And I was like, I can't get to it. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to just sit in my house and listen to this cat crying all night. It made me so sad. Amy got home later that night and I told her the story and I was like, if you know of any way to get into that church, we should go find the cat. She was like, I will not walk over there because that's Compton and you're more likely to get shot over there than anywhere else.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, Amy, why didn't you tell me that before?
I was walking over there.
Yeah, like, girl, I could have died tonight for a cat. So I hear this noise and like in my head, I know I'm like, Allie's waiting for me. I need to get to there so we could start recording. We have 2 episodes to record, but I'm listening and it honestly sounded like a raccoon fighting a cat.
Aw.
Yeah. And so I heard it once and kind of like I stopped. And I was like, okay, if I hear it again, I need to like try and investigate.
Raccoons are mean.
I
wanna go
didn't
investigate?
find anything, but so I stand there for a second and again, I'm like internally like, okay, you need to go. But then I hear it again. So then I walk back to John's sliding glass door and he still has the like slider open with the screen shut. So I think he's heard it too. And I was like, did you hear that? And he was like, hear what? I was like, God damn it. Why are you a boy? I was like, there's some weird ass noise. And I'm like trying to figure out what it is. And then it happens like 4 more times. And I was like, it sounds like a cat's getting into a fight. And John's like, well, where do you think it's coming from? And I was like, it sounds like it's literally like just a few houses down from you. It's either that or it was down at the park, like basically a block away from him. So then I think John jokingly was like, well, you could go out to the dock and see if you can see anything going that way. And not knowing that I'm the kind of person who's like, if it's a cat that's getting hurt, I want to try and figure out how to save this cat. So then I walk down to the dock. And I don't, like I said, I don't think he expected it because he was like, wait, what are you doing? I'm going to go check to see if I can see anything. So then I walk down to the dock and I'm sitting there and I'm looking and I'm looking. And like, I start hearing like not the same noise, but it sounded like a low, like from like the area where the noises were coming from.
That's creepy.
And, and I thought I saw a black shadow run or something, but I could not investigate. But that took probably an extra 10 minutes.
It did, because you're like, I'm packing up, and I'm like, oh sweet. And then you text me and I'm like, wow, she got home fast. And it's like, I'm leaving, and I'm like, I was like 15 minutes ago you said you were packing up.
Yeah I packed up and then I had to investigate to see if I could save a cat.
Man,
because I was worried about it. Because the thought was it's either a cat fighting a raccoon, 2 raccoons fighting, or it's a raccoon fighting a dog. And I was like, anyway, unless it's the 2 raccoons fighting, I want to try and somehow like throw a stick, throw a rock, something to get that raccoon away from that other animal. So I was like, it literally sounds. Yeah.
Wow.
The raccoons can fight each other. I don't care about that. But yeah, I did not see it. I took a great picture because the mountain was out tonight, and so it was like it's getting dusky. Mm-hmm. So there's that, but I could not save the animal, and I just hope and pray that the noise stopped, not because one of them got killed.
I know, that would be a bummer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I was going up the stairs, and I was like, I just hope.
Oh,
John's like, what? I don't think that was a raccoon. I was like,
then what? Was it
yeah,
demon in your neighborhood? I'd rather it be raccoon.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, no way in hell. Yeah. So that's why I was a little bit late.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow. She's like, okay, I'm home. And I'm like, we are recording 2 episodes tonight and we're starting an hour later than normal.
I know. I was not looking forward to that either. But
gotta do your duty.
Imagine if I could have saved that animal.
Oh, no, I'm not saying you should have done it.
I know. But yeah, no, literally the whole time I was like, I'm standing on the dock looking and I'm like frantically like, where can I see it? And in my head, I'm like, you're supposed to be recording a podcast right now. Instead, you're over here trying to freaking Superman for a cat.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So that's why I was late.
That makes sense. All right. Okay. Are we ready to do this?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, here we go. We got a synopsis. A frumpy high school senior, Bianca, has a rude awakening when she learns that her classmates secretly know her as the DUFF, which is the designated ugly fat friend, to her prettier and more popular pals.
Mm-hmm.
We have author Cody Keplinger, director Ari Sandel, screenplay writer was Josh A. Kagan. Ooh. Do you know him?
No, I find it. This is going to sound a little sexist, but I find it odd that a male decided to depict this in such a different way.
Oh, yeah. I could see it.
Yeah. Like in my head, it would have been a female being like, I don't want to shine light on this girl trying to get some.
Right.
So I'm kind of shocked.
Yeah. And the audiobook reader was Ellen Grafton. Yeah, she did good.
Nice.
Book came out September 7th, 2010. Movie February 20th, 2015. That's 5 years.
It's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember it coming out. To be honest, I remember the movie coming out.
I do have slight vague memories of the movie coming out. But when I looked up and it said 2015, I was like, holy crap. Because I thought it was just a couple years ago.
Oh. I knew it was a while ago. Because I remember watching it with my mom and I thought I was in high school.
You were not.
Fuck, I was not.
You were out of college.
Ouch. That's hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What'd you do first?
I saw the movie.
I read the book.
Mm-hmm. What are your initial thoughts?
This is a hard one because this is one of those book stories that
They're two very different stories.
Different plots.
Yeah.
The movie followed the plot that I was expecting the book to be. And the book was kind of out of the park. Like, I had no idea why
Yeah, it was
it
crazy.
went the way it went.
It was crazy. Ooh.
But I mean,
Yeah.
I would say it wasn't something I was not wanting to read / watch.
Yeah.
So it was enjoyable.
The movie is a very cute young adult rom-com.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I scheduled this book, that's what I was expecting. So then when I read the book, I was like, whoa,
It is not.
what is this?
I mean, it sort of is, but in a very odd way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. It's kind of crazy that the book like doesn't focus on her trying to I don't want to say fix being the Duff, but that's essentially what she does in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that's kind of odd for the book.
She's just kind of very accepting of it.
She's like,
In
well,
the book.
if I'm the Duff, I'm going to be the Duff.
Yep. And then just focuses on the rest of her life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Whereas in the movie, it eats her up.
Why'd we pick it?
So I explained this to Allie. I kept trying to put this in Valentine's, like in February, but then like things would happen where we would like, oh, I actually think this was supposed to be instead of The People We Hated the Wedding.
Mm.
And then we got that opportunity and I was like, goodbye the Duff.
We're going to be talking with some screenplay writers.
Yep. And so that's why. Because I had also seen the movie first. And so I was like, oh, this would be a cute little Valentine's Day. But man, after I read the book, I was like, God damn, if we did this in Valentine's Day, I would have been like, oh no.
But I was telling you that, hey, all the books we did this Valentine's Day were not really
Valentine's Day friendly.
Are we ready for some super fun facts?
Yeah.
Okay. So it was filmed with an R rating in mind, but it was then decided to be postponed to make it more family friendly. And it was edited to PG-13.
That's insane.
Yeah. I'm not really sure how family friendly it is when she's like groping and making out with mannequins.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I swear every other word coming out of her mouth is dickhead or
Yeah.
penis face. Yeah.
That was so funny though. The girl Wesley makes out with in the intro is his real life girlfriend, and now, as of 2016, his wife.
That's cute.
I thought so.
That's cute. Oh, I didn't realize he's one of the Amel brothers.
I don't know who that is. I just recognized him off the bat.
Yeah. His brother is Arrow. Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's why I recognized him.
Mm-hmm. And they honestly look exactly alike.
Yes, they do. Oh, no. I know him from Upload.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, okay. So, number 3, the screenplay for this film was featured in the 2011 Blacklist as a list of the most liked unmade scripts of the year.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah. At the start of the film, Bianca lists 5 stereotypes a person could be at high school. She listed all the stereotypes of the Breakfast Club.
Mm-hmm.
That was cute.
Yeah, it's the best.
Bianca's house was filmed in the same house, The Fault in Our Stars.
Wow.
So she also has the same color car. And when Bianca is with Jess and Casey in her room, she is watching The Fault in Our Stars on her computer.
That's funny. Oh, I love that.
Oh, that was so cute. I didn't catch that it was The Fault in Our Stars.
I didn't. But what's funny is now that you say that about the car, why is that the thing that's clicked for me? And I'm like, oh yeah, that is their car.
No idea. But why did I notice the movie?
Let's do it. Movie starts with Bianca explaining everyone, like, there's the jocks, there's the blah, blah, blahs, the blah, blah, blahs. And you see that Casey's a hacker, which I did not pick up in the book at all.
Nope.
I was like, what? And then just like one of their first conversations that they're having is just asking if the other two have gotten their ticket to homecoming yet, which in the book, she's not allowed to go to homecoming.
Nope.
And then there's an extra random girl thrown in, Madison, who clearly does not like Bianca. And they're in a journalism class, which is very strange because there's no journalism class in the book.
I had to get Ken Jeong in there somehow.
Exactly. Honestly, I'm okay with it.
I know. Same.
Wow, I almost feel like you need to do something. Because I feel like I'm just going to end up like going and going and
That's basically
going.
how this episode's going to go.
Yeah.
So pick a stopping point.
Okay, I know exactly where I'm going to stop.
Okay.
So then in the journalism class, they're again talking about homecoming. And Bianca starts talking about how she's worried that she doesn't have a homecoming date. And I'm like, girl, you're the weirdo who doesn't like homecoming.
Yeah.
Like, why? And then somehow in class, or no, then because Madison had invited the friends to the party, but not Bianca. And the friend like ripped her invitation in half and gave it to Bianca.
I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, I know. That's nice that her friends in the movie were like the friends who are like, oh, you don't like my friend? Well, if
Sucks.
you want us, like,
Yep.
you gotta have her too. And so they go to a party after school because, you know, parties are getting thrown on Wednesdays because why not? And Wesley's there. And this is when Bianca tells us that she's known Wesley since they were children, which is not really the case in the book. Like, she's known him for school purposes, but not like their families hung out.
Yeah. Because they were supposed to be childhood friends in the movie, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where they took baths together.
That's right.
And they're also neighbors in the movie, which he's supposed to be this rich billionaire who lives in a fancy ass house.
Yep.
On like the other side of town. And then Madison is Wesley's on again, off again girlfriend. And so for the party, Jess and Casey are trying to make Bianca cute, and Bianca's actually going with the flow. Whereas in the book, she would have been like, fuck it, I'm going however I want. Like, I don't care. I don't need to be cute for this. Then her mom comes up because she lives with her mom, not her dad. And her mom's talking to her and is like, oh, have fun tonight, sweetie, blah, blah, blah.
I did like that her mom still had the same job.
Yeah, I was
She's
thankful
like a
for that. Motivational speaker who writes books, self-help books for people. Yeah. No, her mom, I honestly think the only reason it was her mom was because they wanted to get Alice and Jenny. And I'm, again, okay with it.
Right.
And so then they go to a party, which is essentially the nest in the first scene that the book has.
Okay. The book kicks off with the Friends at the Nest. It's this super cool club that high schoolers can go to.
I know. I wanted... Oh,
Where was that
so
when
cool.
we were in high school?
For real. It's like, it's a bar that has since been renovated to be a hangout for high schoolers. So the bar only has soft drinks and water and juices and things like that. But it's basically a bar still.
Yeah, it's a club too. They like got dances going on.
I know. It would have been cool.
That would have been cool.
Except for I don't go to clubs. I don't go to clubs to dance. So I would have been exactly Bianca.
Dude, I would have
hangs
had
out with the bartender.
Blast. Man, we gotta go to
I know we got
Steel
to.
Creek.
I would still go with you for sure. I want to do line dancing.
Yeah, we gotta do it.
But I suck at it. So that's why I would prefer
I
to be
suck at it too.
at the bar talking to the bartender.
Anyways, okay, so there's this guy, Wesley. He comes over and he's like, you're the Duff. And he explained what that was because he's trying to get her Casey and Jess's phone numbers or figured like involved with them. And she's pissed off because he called her ugly and fat. And he's like, I didn't. I just called you the Duff. And it's like, that you don't have to be fat or ugly to be the Duff. You're just the less attractive of the friend group. And she threw her drink on him and left. But that name, the Duff, just kept bouncing in her head, and she's fixated on it.
And that basically happens in the movie.
Jessica, who's Bianca's friend, is bummed she can't go to homecoming. And Bianca suggests they do a movie night. And Bianca ran into Wesley at school, and he calls her Duffy throughout the entire book.
Which makes more sense than when he does it in the movie. Because if you're childhood best friends with this person, why are you out of nowhere deciding to call her the Duffy?
Yeah.
Like, it makes sense
Yeah.
in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And is it sad that I kind of think it's a cute, like how I feel like Wesley's saying it very enduringly.
I do too.
I'm like, oh, you're cute.
Yeah. I didn't think it was mean he was saying it. Mm-mm. Like, I feel like he was kind of poking fun at first, but then it turned into his little nickname for her.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But she also sees Toby Tucker. Oh my gosh, the most dreamy boy ever. And she finds out he has a girlfriend of 1.5 years. So she's super bummed. She goes home and her dad is yelling on the phone with her mom, and her mom kind of just abandons them for like vacations and motivational talks and all this sort of stuff. And like, she's been gone for 2 months now and they have no idea when she's coming home.
Yeah. Dad's not in the picture.
Not in the movie at all.
Exactly. You don't even see him.
It's actually a very opposite story. And that's what makes mom a motivational speaker. Because dad up and left them.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I did not like that change.
I didn't either. I like the story with the dad.
Because there's not enough like awesome single dad stories out there.
Mm-hmm.
And this one was a really good one.
I know it was. I mean, he has his one scene where it's not great, but then that also
was a character
Wesley
moment. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So when I realized that, I was actually, have you watched? Oh, you have.
I made him. Yeah.
Yeah. The video where I went to record something because Alice and Jenny came on. I was like, wait a minute.
Yes.
Hold the phone. And then Toby Tucker's there, but he does not have a girlfriend in the movie.
So Jessica and Casey get her to go to the club again. And Bianca's just like in a mood, right? Her parents are fighting and all this sort of stuff. She just wants to go to Casey's house and talk, but they're out dancing. But then Wesley comes up to her again and he asks her if she's okay because she honestly looks like upset. And she does a very impulsive thing and kissed him. That was a shocker. I was like, what the heck is happening? And
yeah.
They start making out, but then he touched her boob and it ruined the whole thing. And she slapped him or threw a drink at him. And no, she threw a drink the first time. She slapped him this time. And Bianca stayed the night at Casey's house and she told her about the kiss. And the next day she goes home and she's hanging out with her dad and they do snuggles and they watch Family Ties together.
Mm-hmm. So in the movie, I'll get us kind of caught up. Mm-hmm. This is kind of a hard one to get us caught up.
I know.
So Bianca has now, after the party, been Googling DUFF all night and just keeps seeing like meme after meme of DUFF. And then it clicks that even the faculty don't notice her and they'll be like, hey, Jess, hey, Casey, and never talk to her. But then she kind of embraces being the DUFF. She's like, fuck it. I'm going to go to school in my pajamas today. Like have my socks on over my pants and look slobby as fuck. And so then when she gets to school, Bianca gets in a fight with her friends because she's their DUFF. And they like just basically do the high school thing of getting mad at each other for really stupid things. And I'm going to unfriend you. I'm not going to follow you on Twitter. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not following you on Snapchat.
Oh, my gosh.
And all this. And now I will wait.
Bianca and Casey have been friends since kindergarten. And Casey has let's try that again. Casey asks Bianca to take her home after cheerleading. And when she's waiting for Wesley while she's waiting, Wesley shows up and he's being all smug about the kiss and everything. And Bianca runs off and lets Casey know that by the way, we're not going to homecoming. And Casey's like, okay, can I crash movie night? So then they do the school assignment and teacher picks partners. And of course, Bianca's with Wesley because why not? Mm-hmm. And it's girls' night and they're going over to Jessica's house and Bianca walks past Jessica's brother's bedroom and gets this flashback of Jake, her brother, saying, I would never hurt you. And Bianca saying, who is that girl? And Jessica calls for her and she kind of snaps out of it.
Jessica's whole brother is not in the movie.
Mm-mm.
And there is no English project for Bianca and Wesley. It's Bianca's a whiz in science and Wesley needs help. And so Bianca has now come to the fact that she wants help to not be a DUFF. So she goes to Wesley and is like, I need help. You need help because you're failing science. Let's help each other out.
Mm-hmm. So Bianca went home and after the sleepover and there was glass everywhere from picture frames and through beer bottles. And her dad is a recovering alcoholic and he's been sober for 18 years. But her mom served him with divorce papers, and Bianca.
It would be more fun to say
divorce papers, and Bianca saw them on the table. She cleaned up a bit, and then she went to Wesley's to work on her project. And the project is about the Scarlet Letter, and they're doing a character analysis and about why the main character did what she did. And Bianca's probably like, it's probably just a distraction. And then she's like, oh. You know what? When I kissed Wesley the other day, that was a really good distraction. So they start kissing again and end up having sex.
Because she's like, you know what would be a great distraction?
Oh my gosh.
So now in the movie, after Bianca has pitched Wesley helping her not be a duff and her helping with science, Wesley's like, okay, Saturday at noon, we got to go to the mall and change up your look. And so they go to the mall. And this movie is very much, it surrounds social media. And so like he's recording her, a bunch of girls are recording her when she's like, they do the whole classic, like go in and try on a bunch of different outfits. But then she starts.
Montage thing.
Yeah. But then Wesley's like, who are you trying to get the attention for? And she's like, Toby. And so he's like, pretend that you're talking to him. And she's like, oh, Toby.
She never admits it. Does she ever say to him in the book that she likes Toby?
Nope, not until
later.
Yeah. And then after they do the whole trying on clothes thing, Wesley then like makes Bianca go and ask so many people out at the mall.
I know.
She goes up to one dude and he's like, oh, I get it. This is one of those prank shows.
Poor girl.
Then basically the next day at school, this video goes viral of Bianca. So then Bianca gets mad at Wesley because she's like, oh my God, you leaked it. And then because the school, which this also, I'm like, no school would ever do this. Unfortunately, I think they should. But basically because they realized that Bianca was getting cyberbullied, they're like, no one can be on their phones at school anymore. You have to turn them in right away. And then when Bianca goes to confront Wesley, she punches him. And I'm glad she punches him.
So she's feeling awful. Oh, you guys got to keep up because we're telling you two different stories simultaneously here.
I'm trying to find points where I'm like, okay, I can stop here.
Yeah. So remember, in the book, they just had sex. So she's feeling awful because Wesley's all sleazy, but he's also being a real gentleman about it too. It was a weird mix. And he's like, are you okay? Like something seems up. And she ends up just going home and she calls Casey and Casey calls her and she's also asking if she's okay and how the project went. And she just kind of blew her off. And Jessica shares that her brother is coming to town and then his girlfriend, now fiance. And it turns out Bianca was the other girl in this relationship and he broke her heart and took her virginity and he was 18 and she was 14 so that they had to keep it all secretive. And turns out it wasn't because of the age, it was because he had another girl. And she sees Wesley at lunch and she decides, hey, I'm going to go sleep with him in the janitor's closet. So they do.
Who would want to do that at school?
Just whatever. Bianca saw her dad at home acting totally normal, other than the fact that he was in total denial about the divorce. Casey calls her and is like, hey, do you want to hang out? And she very quickly said no, because she's meeting Wesley later. And eventually she got off the phone and went to Wesley's, and he's like this drug for her. Bianca and Wesley had a real talk about their relationship and Jake and why she's using him for sex. And he's like, well, that's fine. I don't care if I'm used. I just like know why. And they decided to make it a constant fling. And Casey talked to her about, hey, you don't hang out with us as much and you're acting differently. And Bianca got really defensive. She's just counting down the moments till she can see Wesley again. And we get a little background on Jessica and how she joined the group. And we saw this, and she joined because she was like this needy little cheerleader that older senior cheerleaders are taking advantage of. And Casey was not all about that. So she went and helped her out. And the reason this is important is because we see this little freshman getting bullied by junior cheerleaders and Bianca wants to go save her. Or she didn't want to. Jess says, we got to go save her. And Bianca's like, ugh. But then she realizes, oh my gosh, if I save her, I'm not the duff anymore. But then she feels really bad about that. And she ended up taking too long, she disappeared into the crowd. I do want to say A big difference in the book and movie that I did not like
Mm-hmm.
was that, sure, the friends, they kind of drifted.
Yeah, but they're not in it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They drifted just because Bianca just kept to herself. Whereas in the movie, Bianca full on is like, this is all your fault. You're using me for the duff, which is not at all. I was really sad about that.
I know. I think she let Wesley get too much in her head.
Uh-huh.
Plus, you also need the cute rom-com.
Right.
Can we be friends so you can help me get pretty for the guy?
Yeah.
But I agree. I do. I also was getting upset at her in the book too, though. Because I was like, the heck are you doing? Just tell them what's going on.
I know. Communication, people, communication.
Mm-hmm.
So Bianca hates Valentine's Day, but she got called to the office to go help pass out flowers. But so did Toby Tucker. And so they start having this cute little conversation. And if we find out Toby and his girlfriend broke up, so he invited her to sit next to him in government. And he puts a flower behind her ear and is all cute and flirty. And the office lady comes in and says, Bianca, you're being checked out. And it was her mom. And her mom and her had to talk about how crappy it was that her mom just up and left. And Bianca realizes that, hey, you know what? I can't be mad at mom for what happened to dad because dad is his own person. He made that choice. Super mature for a high schooler.
Yeah, absolutely.
So she went over to Wesley so that her parents could sort things out. And Bianca and Wesley chatted for a little bit. And we find out that his parents are almost never home and non-existent. And his sister lives with his grandma and his grandma hates him and all this sort of stuff.
Well, yeah. In the movie, Wesley's whole fucking family is there. And he comes from a broken family where, like, when Bianca goes to his house at some point, she knocks on the door and he opens and she can just hear yelling and screaming from in the house. And he's like, oh, can we get away somewhere?
Yeah. Bianca lets him know that you can always talk to me about anything. And she goes home and her dad has relapsed again. And she goes to school and Toby wasn't in class. So she's pretty bummed about that. But her friends are like, what the heck is going on? Why are you acting so weird? And so she decides to share half truths. So she says her mom's in town and their parents are getting a divorce. And they're like, oh my gosh, we're so sorry. And after school, she calls her dad's work and finds out he didn't come in today, which he never does. So he's relapsed hard. And she went to see a movie with her mom, but she's really worried about her dad.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out her dad is not doing well. And she doesn't know how to help him, but she's just going to keep his alcoholism a secret for his sake. And she goes to class but she gets pulled off by Toby. And he's like, oh my gosh, that day I missed class. I had an interview with Harvard. And guess what? I got the letter and I'm really nervous, but I want you to be there when I open it. And he ended up getting in and it was like a big little party. And Casey sees this as is pissed because she blew off talking to Casey right now. She was supposed to talk to her to hang out with Toby. And they get in this heated argument and Bianca goes to her car, but then it's not starting. So Wesley convinces her to let him take her home. And he took his sisters home to their grandma's first. Grandma comes out pissed saying, I don't want you driving Amy around with your friends in the car and all this sort of stuff.
So I guess in the movie, they kind of like, I guess they were trying to show the dysfunction of the family that comes from the book, but instead it was his parents that were yelling. I keep trying to figure out if I should jump in.
I know.
Well, in the movie, Bianca has randomly run into Toby after this viral video of her calling a mannequin Toby.
Over and over and over again.
And how she wants to marry him.
And being very sexually inappropriate with this mannequin.
Yeah. And so at first it's awkward, but then she gets the courage to ask him out and he says yes. And so she runs to Wesley and is like, it's go time. We got to, you need to help me with the dating. Now Wesley's like, because she goes into the boys' locker room to go get Wesley, which why would you go into the boys' locker room?
She didn't give a crap about anything.
Yeah. And so Wesley is in front of a chalkboard. And so he starts drawing like a football coach would draw to teach her how to go on a date properly with Toby.
It's so funny. Oh my gosh.
He was basically telling her that they needed to be in a booth together. They needed dim lights. They needed to
be close, sitting next to each other.
Yeah, you had to look to see if he would lean in and things like that. So then Wesley's got like I guess they both have like a science test or something coming up. And so Bianca, after the help with the date, is like, I'm going to help you study. We'll do that tonight. So she goes over to his house, but then that's when his family is yelling. And so she's like, oh, I have a place that I can show you. And so they go to this place. And this is when you find out that her dad and mom got a divorce, and mom wanted custody of her and dad wanted custody of the dog, which I was so sad. I was like, I wish, but whatever. And then Wesley is like, my parents are on their way to getting a divorce, which I was like, no. In the book, they're happily married. They're just not there.
Yep.
And so then Bianca takes her to her thinking place, which I, funnily enough, because obviously this book is set in Indiana.
Oh my gosh, tell me, I thought the exact same thing. Is it the same place?
I'm pretty sure it's the highest rock or whatever.
Oh my gosh. I was like, I've just seen that in a different movie. What movie did we just watch? That was all the right places, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, how cute.
Yeah. And so when I saw that, I was like, hey. So this is where they end up kissing, because Wesley's getting pretty vulnerable with Bianca and vice versa. And so then they end up kissing.
For the very first time.
Yeah, for the very first time. And Allie's already said quite a bit of the book. And then they try to play it off as Wesley just trying to give Bianca some kissing advice. And she's like, yeah, I probably should practice my kissing. So then they go to do it again, but then she licks his face. But then lo and behold, why the hell is one of Madison's friends in the middle of the woods
Jogging at night?
Yeah.
So odd.
Getting a video of them. But of course she gets a video of them kissing. All right. And I'll stop there.
Okay. So in the book. Yep. So they just dropped Amy off and they're going back wherever. Wesley tried to get him to tell her what she's hiding.
Get her to tell him.
But she wouldn't. And eventually he started doing some inappropriate things with her. But her dad showed up because they're doing it at her house. And so they had to stop. And they played Scrabble in her room for 4 hours. At that point, what's the difference?
I know. I was like, wow, you could have been doing stuff still.
If you didn't want it, I get it. That's weird with a parent there, but get out of your room then.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I thought the same thing. I was like, that's still weird because you gotta know your dad's still going to think that that's what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
So they finally went downstairs. Her dad's super drunk and he starts calling her slut and all these names because he thought that's what she's doing.
And might as well have just continued.
I know. And she takes the bottle from him and he smacks her. And then Wesley punches him. And they go to Wesley and Bianca's house or Wesley's house.
Whoa. Allie.
And Bianca is just mortified. They got married. Oh, did you miss that part? So they go to Wesley's house and Bianca is mortified. They have a moment and then they have sex, but it's passionate, not Bianca's trying to forget something.
It's because they're starting to feel stuff.
So Bianca realizes that she actually has feelings for Wesley and she's freaked out. And she calls Casey and she's like, I need you to come get me. I'm at Wesley's house. And she's like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm there. And be right there. Bianca ended it with Wesley because she's so confused and she doesn't want to be with him because he's the school man whore. And she's like, I can't be with that. He's never going to love me. And Casey picked her up and they chatted and Bianca told her everything except that her dad is a drunk.
And I get her reasoning behind it, but I'm like, girl,
if you can't talk to your best friends about this stuff from kindergarten,
who can you?
Right.
And
that's why she needs
everything else in her life too is basically a result of her dad being a drunk. Because she wants to forget that her dad's drunk and she wants to do this because her dad's drunk. So it's it's
a very important key of her life. Yep. So Bianca got home and her dad had a really long talk and he apologized a million times and he agreed to go back to AA and they dumped all the alcohol down the drain together and they started fresh and he told her, tell Wesley, thank you for taking care of you and all this sort of stuff. Toby asked Bianca to prom. Sort of. He's like, so do you have anything you going to prom? And she's like, no, prom is so stupid, blah, blah, blah.
I would have been so pissed at myself.
I
I could have
know.
seen myself doing the same thing in high school.
Right? And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, I was going to ask you, but you know what? You're right. Prom sucks. Like, let's go on a different date instead. And she's pissed. She's like, dang it. And she's like, yeah, let's do it. Casey and Jessica were there and got her all dressed and everything. And it was a wonderful date. And they ended up kissing. And yeah, what? You go?
Yeah, I'll go now because in the movie, Bianca has gotten all cute for her date with Toby. And she goes to Toby's. And their date is at Toby's house. And he's made sushi. And so, like, he shows her the table. And she freaks out because the seating is so that they're across from each other. And she's like, oh, Wesley said we have to be sitting next to each other. So then she moves the chair so that she can be sitting next to him. And like, Wesley. I said Wesley so many times just then. I definitely was meaning Toby, everyone. It's because we're both just like, she's got to be with Wesley. So then Toby keeps coming around the corner in between all of this because then like the lighting's not right. So she changes the lights and he's like, oh, breaker must have switched. And she's like, no,
weird.
No, it came back. And so like then he starts leaning in and she's like, oh, good. But then her mind starts getting ahead of herself and she starts imagining them just making out. But then it turns into Wesley and she's like, what the hell? Can you get out of my head? And so then she like goes to the bathroom really quick and Wesley's still there. And she's like, no, I'm on a date with Toby. And she goes out to Toby and then Toby's like, let me play you a song. And so he does. And then he starts asking about Jessica and Casey. And she's like, yeah, but what about me? And he's like, oh, yeah, let's talk about that. But aren't Jessica and Casey in that class with you? And she's like, oh, shit.
You're duffing me.
Yeah. So then she leaves the date super, super sad and crying. And she tries to call Wesley, but then he doesn't answer. And so she's like, I'm going to go to my rock to think. And she gets to her rock and who's there but Wesley and Madison making out. So then she's super sad and hurt about that. Oh, but then Wesley later that night, because then she goes home and then Wesley comes knocking on her door and he's like, hey, I got your phone call, like your message. Talk to me. I'm sorry this happened. He's a piece of shit. And she's like, well, you're even worse. You went to my spot. And he's like, what? It's just a spot. Because she's dumb not telling him her feelings.
Okay, so Wesley's calling Bianca over and over and she keeps ignoring him. She and Toby are in her room and they're making out, but Toby's moving real slow. So she's like just making all the moves. And right as he's about to take off her bra, Wesley comes in. And Bianca ends up having this huge argument with Wesley. And he's like, I came to check on you because I'm worried about you and your dad and all this sort of stuff. And you didn't let me know. And he's like, I care for you. And she doesn't believe him.
This part made me so mad when I was reading it because I was like, girl, he is jealous.
I know.
Like, why aren't you picking up on that? Sometimes girls are dumb too.
I know. Well, Toby was absolutely perfect and sweet and amazing, but Bianca didn't feel it. She's just like, something's not. I keep thinking about Wesley. And Jessica even comes up to her and is like, Bianca, don't be mad at me, but I don't think you and Toby are good together. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm not mad at you. Don't worry. And Bianca goes to class and there's a note on her desk and it's from Wesley. And he's like, Wesley Rush doesn't chase girls, but I'm chasing you. So cute. Well, Bianca's reading Wuthering Heights right now because
hell yeah,
Toby likes it or is reading it. And
I know he likes it, but he shits on it.
I know.
I'm like, how do you like it if you're hating it at the same time?
They all had my exact reactions to it.
But they all wanted to read it.
So weird. So she was wasn't really liking it, but then there was that line that basically compared like Heathcliff and Catherine and whoever else.
My love for I want to say Lincoln. It's not Lincoln. My love for... Why can't I think of the other dude's name? Obviously, because I root for Heathcliff.
So weird.
Basically, her love for this dude is like, it'll last, but it's not something like her love for Heathcliff, which is the rocks and like the things that will last for eternity.
No, whatever. Linton.
I knew it started with an L.
Yep.
I was so close. Lincoln?
That was close. That was pretty close. Okay. So she got a bouquet of flowers in the mail, and her dad's like, "Oh, that's so sweet." And she realized it's from Wesley, though, not Toby.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, "Thank you for the help." And it said that he's calling his parents, and because that was something she yelled at him about in the fight and everything like that. And so life goes on, and she's at school, and the school labeled floozy slut girl, there's a rumor going around that she's pregnant. And Bianca ran into her, and she's like, "Yes, don't worry, it's not true." And then Bianca felt really guilty because she's like, "I'm being so hypocritical because literally what this girl's doing, I've been doing. I've just been sleeping around. Well, not around with the same person, but she's been sleeping with him over and over again." And she goes home, and here's a knock, and it's her mom. And her mom knows about her dad's AA, and she's come to talk to Bianca about her boyfriend, and they have a mom-daughter moment. And eventually it's time for her date, and they're going to the nest again. And Bianca, Toby, and Casey, and Jessica all on their way to the club. And at the club, Wesley shows up, and Toby noticed, and they have a little chat, and he's like, "I understand you like him, and you know what, that's totally fine." And so they ended it amicably.
Because he's also been having feelings for his ex still.
Yeah. And so she ended up tripping on her shoes or something, and Wesley caught her. And then they ended up getting together.
Cute. In the movie, Bianca and her friends become friends again. And then they're at Bianca's house, and they're talking about how they aren't going to go to homecoming because homecoming's stupid anyway, because they know that Bianca's sad because of all the boys who've been hurting her. And then Bianca's mom comes in and is like, "No, you have to go." And then they decide to turn a dress because, oh yeah, this is kind of key. Wesley had bought Bianca a dress that she had been eyeing at the mall as a makeup for her being mad about the video going viral, even though it wasn't his fault. And when she got ready for her date with Toby, she wore that, and she went over to Wesley's house to be like, "Look, student has become the master." And he's like, "Whoa, you don't look like yourself." And so then at the end of the movie, they decide to change up the dress to make it look more like Bianca. And so because Casey is a fashionista who wants to be a fashion designer. And
Jessica.
Casey's the hacker? Okay. So Jessica is the fashionista who wants to be a fashion designer. And she changes the whole entire dress with some of Bianca's flannels. And they make this pretty dress, and the mom's like, "Wow, that's so great." So then Bianca goes to the dance, and she goes and tells Wesley about all of her feelings, but Wesley's there with his girlfriend, Madison. And then, of course, it's the crowning moment for homecoming king and queen. And of course, Madison and Wesley are getting it. But then Wesley is staring at Bianca as he's getting called up to the stage. They're like, "You got to go get your crown. Go get your crown. Wesley, come get your crown." And then he's like, "Nah, I'm going to go get the girl." And he goes to Bianca. And then they date.
That was the end. Did you enjoy those two stories?
Yeah. Two very different stories with the same title.
Right. Okay. So, shall we do some cast?
I will say I am surprised at how short it is. Because honestly, the story is very short.
That's because we didn't do a lot of comparing. We were like, this is what happened and that's what happened.
Because that's how this one is.
Yes. It was really...
It was weird. Especially since the story the story is there, but just not, if that makes sense. You heard what we just said.
The relationship part is, but the plot of the story is... That's why it was like... Because I was like, okay, well, so did Allegiant and stuff like that. But no, this one was just two different stories.
Yeah.
Which, Allegiant was also...
Two different stories, but they also tried to make it the same.
Right. This one, they just didn't even try to make it the same.
Yeah.
It was the same characters, same ended up romance.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Yeah.
So we got 70 people cast in this movie. Mae Whitman is Bianca.
I love her.
I think she's
perfect. Yes. Yeah. When I was reading the book, I was like, oh yeah, spot on.
We got Robbie Amell as Wesley.
Okay.
Amell.
I recast him.
Why?
Yeah, because Wesley's supposed to have long hair.
He's supposed to have curly hair, yeah.
Long curly hair. I recast Timothy Chalamet.
That's hilarious.
Why?
Because I almost was recasting him for someone else.
Oh,
but I didn't end up choosing him.
That's funny.
But
funny.
that's funny. So then we have Bella Thorne as Madison.
I don't like her. I didn't recast her because she does fine in this role. I just don't like her.
She was actually, fun fact, was auditioned for Bianca. But they
she wouldn't have
she would
done
have been a
well.
horrible Bianca. Yeah, they liked her so much so that they made her Madison. But I was like, Bianca? No, she's too pretty.
Oh, for sure. Could you imagine?
Yeah. And then we have Bianca Santos as Casey. How funny is that?
Funny.
That would be confusing
hilarious.
as crap.
Yep. Well, what's funny is for some reason at the end, why I got confused on who made the dress is because I feel like she looks more like a Jess and Jess looks more like a Casey.
I didn't think either of them looked like it at all.
They didn't look like the characters from the book, but they were fine for me.
I liked them.
Yeah.
But they would no, they're both supposed to be little pixie cut blondes and ponytail blondes. And
Yeah.
Then we have Skylar Samuels as Jess.
Yeah, she was fine.
Yep. Okay, I just put him in here because I know he was barely in it.
Mm-hmm.
Romany,
Romany.
probably. Malco was the principal. Oh my gosh, I freaking love him so much.
He's funny.
He's so funny.
I don't know him, but he's funny.
He was in A Million Little Things. Really good show. It's like
Oh, yep. I know exactly which one you're talking about.
that final episode, you guys. If you watch that show, oh my gosh, I was wrecked for days. Because, okay, my psych guy, Sean, is the main character in that one.
Okay. Your sight guy?
Psych.
Oh, okay.
He dies in the last episode. That's so sad. But he has cancer throughout the whole last season.
Oh.
And so the
know
whole,
it's coming.
Yeah, you know it's coming in the whole last episode. But you have that chance because he's had cancer the whole show, but he's been in remission. And so he gets it for the last season.
Aww.
And then it's like, oh my gosh. And it's like he makes, because his girl and him have a baby and he makes a video for his kid. And the whole last episode is them playing the video and talking to his kid.
Sad.
I was just sobbing the whole time. Anyway, so the Romany is in that show and it's a fantastic show. So I had to put him in here because I was so excited when I saw him.
Nice.
Yep. Nick Eversman is Toby.
He was okay.
I hated him.
Yeah, he wasn't nerdy Toby, but
no, he was a douchebag.
Yeah.
I hated the whole character. I was so mad at this.
Yeah.
Because Toby is supposed to be perfect.
Yeah. And then
he's just not the right for her.
Yeah.
Like, how much cuter would that have been if, he was really good, but you know what? My heart still goes for Wesley.
Yeah. That's
so true. I recast.
Okay. Who?
And I did Josh Hutcherson's.
Oh, yeah.
Give him glasses. And
Yeah.
have him a little nerdy because he seemed perfect.
Yeah, he would have been.
But then he's not her perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
That's who I almost did as Timothy Chalamet, though.
That's funny.
But I didn't because I did not assume that he was around back then. That's the only reason I didn't do it.
Oh, that's even funnier. We have yet, I think it would be funnier. I'm waiting for us to recast the same person for the same role one day.
That would be awesome.
But this was like the closest we've ever come.
Was. It was. Ken Jeong played Mr. Arthur.
I love him.
He's so funny.
He's the best.
Not in the book, but he's good.
Exactly.
Same with Allison Janney, mom. She's not in the book.
No,
she is, but she's not who I pictured in the book, actually, now that I say that.
Yeah. Oh, that's what that's for, huh?
Yep. I pictured Bryan Cranston as dad.
I literally just sat here and I was like, he was not in this movie.
That's who I pictured. And then I watched the movie and dad's not there.
He would have been so great in that role. Oh, I love Bryan Cranston.
I know.
Damn, they should have.
No. Is the theme the same?
Yeah.
No.
The Duff is there.
Barely. That's not even okay.
Yeah. No, not really.
I don't think so.
No. Do the characters stay true?
No.
No.
Not at all. None of them.
Which do you prefer?
I think I like the movie better.
Really?
I like aspects of the book way better. Like, I like that the dad was involved, and I like that she didn't stop being friends with her friends because they think of her as the Duff, or she believes that. And but no, the movie was cute and fun. It was funny.
What's funny is after I had watched it, I was like, for sure movie. But now that I've like sat with it, it's actually like a hard decision for me. But I am going to go movie just because I don't like how like she wants to lose herself in sex. And so like that's basically the whole focal point of the book.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ugh, you can get around that. There's other things to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Would you recommend it to a friend? Yeah. I think I would recommend both to a friend.
I would recommend the movie for sure. The book, I might be like, it's good. It wasn't my favorite.
Yeah. I mean, it's not my favorite, but I think it's an enjoyable book. Like I finished it quick. And to me, that's a good sign of a good book.
That's good. Okay, you guys, we have sneak peeks for ya.
Yeah, we do.
We still have our website up.
Wow.
It hasn't been taken down yet.
Shocked.
We have like stuff going up, like blog posts
all the time.
and all about us and all that sort of stuff. You can rate, subscribe, and review on there. And
yeah, you can email us from there.
Oh my gosh, do you know how cool that would be?
You can subscribe to our monthly newsletter.
You can get little bookmarks.
What?
Oh man. And then you guys, in 1 week, 2 weeks, we're going to the Kent Nerd Party.
How exciting. I'm so very excited.
If you are in Western Washington,
please come.
Come. You can be on our podcast.
Yeah. We're going to have a little booth. We're going to be recording some episodes.
Yeah. And we're going to have it we'll set up and it'll be like, come be on our podcast. And people can
super cute.
Sit down and chat with us about the Nerd Party. And I think it's going to be a blast.
There's a ton of cool sci-fi authors who are coming to the event. There's some cool publishers coming to the event. So it's not just us. It's going to be a blast. There's also going to be food trucks. I don't know what kind of food yet, but I'm excited for that.
That should be fun.
Yeah, I'm like, ooh, dinner.
Yes.
And then Wednesday, we're back to Stephen King.
I mean, we were last time too. Oh, but I guess we had a mini-sode in between. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, well, not only that, but like this episode. And like,
oh, I see what you're saying.
We're doing Children of the Corn. That's a good one. That's a fun one.
It's also a short one. Look at you got 2 short episodes
back to back.
Probably
boom,
2 under an hour back to back.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah. How exciting.
You're welcome.
Monday, we have an even more fun episode. Allie's nervous for it.
Don't say that.
I mean, here is where you can say it. Next episode, you won't be able to.
We got Howl's Moving Castle.
And my friend's kid, Jade, is going to be on the podcast with us.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm excited to do a podcast with her.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be great.
I just finished reading it and I watched it long ago, so I need to go rewatch it.
I will say, because we watched it with our friends and we were talking through a lot of it.
Yes.
And so when I would pay attention to the movie, there were parts where I was like, what the hell is going on? But in reading it, I remember bits and pieces from the movie. I'm like, oh, this is making sense now because I did not understand what was going on at this part of the movie. So it's helped me.
Okay, well, that's on my list. I'll watch it before next episode.
Well, I hope. Otherwise, you're not doing the podcast.
I'll let you and Jade do it. I'll just sit.
Yeah.
Have a breather.
I only did half of it, guys. All right. With that, the Duff went off script. Bye.
Thanks for sticking with us.
We hope you enjoyed it.
If you did, we would greatly appreciate it if you gave us 5 beautiful stars, reviewed, and subscribed.
You can also follow us on Facebook at Offscript, on Instagram at Offscript Podcast 21, and on TikTok at Offscript_pod.
Shoutouts to Madame Ashen Creations for our adorable logo art.
And Adam Daniel for our incredible theme song.
And to Creative Cinephile Productions for producing our podcast.
See you next time.